Modern agriculture is no longer a quiet activity hidden in the countryside. It is one of the largest industrial systems ever built by humanity. Every year, farms around the world produce more than 2 billion tons of food. Enough to supply cities larger than entire civilizations from the past. Behind this scale is not luck, not tradition, not even weather alone. It is machinery, steel replacing muscle, sensors replacing instinct, algorithms replacing guesswork. Today, a single machine can do the work that once required hundreds of people working from sunrise to sunset. And this transformation is happening silently, field by field. Our journey begins in the orchards of Washington State, the apple capital of the United States. From the sky, the orchards look peaceful, perfect rows of trees stretching toward the horizon. But on the ground, the harvest is a mechanical operation measured in tons per hour. One of the most widely used systems is the hydraulic tree shaker. A machine weighing up to 10 tons slowly positions itself beside a tree. Two padded arms close around the trunk. Hydraulic pistons build pressure. Then, in seconds, the entire tree is shaken with controlled violence. Thousands of apples fall at once. Not gently, not carefully. Gravity does the work. Moments later, another machine enters the scene. The windrower. Its rotating brushes sweep apples from both sides of the row, guiding them into a single clean line across the soil. Behind it comes the pickup harvester. Low to the ground, its conveyor system uses soft rubber fingers rotating like mechanical hands, lifting each apple from the dirt. Air jets remove leaves and dust. The fruit travels upward, flowing into large wooden bins ready for transport. This system is fast, up to 15 tons of apples per day from a single machine. But speed has a cost. Impact bruising damages the skin of the fruit. For premium fresh markets, this is unacceptable. And so engineers redesigned the process. A newer generation of shaker machines includes a built-in catching frame. As the tree is shaken, apples fall not to the ground, but onto flexible fabric surfaces that cradle the fruit. From there, conveyors deliver them directly into storage bins. No soil contact, minimal impact. The difference between juice-grade fruit and export-quality produce. Technology deciding economic value. An apple tree requires 4 to 5 years before producing its first commercial harvest. A machine can decide in seconds whether that harvest becomes profit or loss. But apples are only one piece of the system. Across the Atlantic, another operation unfolds beneath European skies. Carrot harvesting. In countries like Germany and the Netherlands, fields stretch for kilometers, filled with green tops hiding orange roots below. Here, farmers rely on machines such as the Grima Evo series. Unlike traditional harvesters, these machines perform multiple tasks simultaneously. First, metal blades slide beneath the soil, lifting the carrots from the ground. Rubber rollers shake away heavy dirt. Rotating knives remove the leafy tops. Optical systems pre-sort the crop while it is still moving. All within seconds. From above, the conveyors appear like glowing rivers of orange. A continuous flow of food. One machine replaces hundreds of workers. Operating day and night, rain or sun, human fatigue no longer a variable. With this system, Europe delivers millions of tons of carrots each year to supermarkets and food factories. Not as a seasonal miracle, but as a predictable industrial output. Further south, onion fields prepare for harvest in a completely different way. Unlike most crops, onions are not collected immediately. First, a windrower lifts them from the soil and places them gently back onto the surface. There they remain, for up to 2 weeks, exposed to sun and wind, drying, hardening their outer skins. This natural curing process increases shelf life and reduces rot during transport. Only after this stage does the pickup harvester arrive. Rotating tines lift each bulb. Soft brushes clean away dirt. Air blowers remove loose skin. Market-grade onions fall into massive containers. The rest are separated for processing. Precision sorting at industrial speed. The pattern repeats again and again across crops, continents, and climates. Different plants, different machines, same objective, maximum yield, minimum time, minimum waste, and beneath all of it lies another unseen operation. Soil preparation. Before seeds ever touch the ground, the earth itself must be engineered. This is where deep plows enter the system. Gigantic steel blades penetrate up to 70 centimeters below the surface, breaking compacted layers, opening channels for roots and water, transforming hardened ground into breathable structure. Each pass reshapes the land for the season ahead. In the United States and across Europe, deep plowing prepares hundreds of hectares in days. What once required entire communities now requires one operator in an air-conditioned cabin. Above the fields, satellites track the progress. Below, machines rewrite the terrain. And the season has only begun. Because planting is no longer a simple act of scattering seeds. It is a calculated operation measured in millimeters. In the next stage of modern agriculture, machines do not just harvest. They design the future of the crop itself. In modern agriculture, harvesting may look impressive, but everything begins much earlier. Long before machines fill the fields with motion, another operation decides the fate of the season. Planting. In the past, seeds were scattered by hand. Rows were uneven, depth was inconsistent, losses were accepted as normal. Today, seeds are deployed with military precision. Across vast fields, giant seed drills move slowly across the land, stretching wider than football fields. From above, they resemble metallic insects crawling across the soil. At their center sits a massive hopper capable of holding several tons of seed. Inside, thousands of kernels wait to be released. As the machine advances, a complex system of tubes, valves, and sensors activates. Each tube corresponds to a row. Each row is calculated. Spacing is measured in centimeters. Depth is controlled to the millimeter. Pressure wheels follow behind, gently closing the soil and compacting it just enough to ensure perfect contact between seed and earth. Not too loose, not too tight, every variable optimized. Modern seed drills from manufacturers like John Deere, Vaderstad, and Horsch no longer rely on human eyesight to stay straight. They follow satellite guidance. GPS systems maintain perfect parallel lines across kilometers of terrain. Deviation is measured in centimeters. Mistakes are corrected instantly by onboard computers. The result is geometric precision. Fields that look drawn by machines, not planted by humans. This precision is not aesthetic. It is economic. Uniform spacing means uniform growth. Uniform growth means predictable harvest times. Predictable harvest times means synchronized logistics. Trucks, storage facilities, processing plants. An entire industrial chain aligned to the moment a plant reaches maturity. Even seed density is calculated digitally. Too many seeds per square meter creates competition for nutrients. Too few wastes valuable land. Sensors constantly adjust the flow rate, in real time, as the machine moves from one soil type to another. Clay, sand, loam, each requires different treatment, each receives it automatically. Some systems go even further. Modern drills integrate soil scanners mounted at the front of the machine. These sensors analyze moisture content, organic matter, and temperature. The data flows into onboard computers. Algorithms decide: increase density here, reduce depth there, change speed, adjust pressure. Planting becomes a live optimization process. No longer agriculture, but applied engineering. In large commercial farms, this single operation can define profitability for an entire year. A deviation of 2% in germination rate can represent thousands of tons lost or gained. And this is only one crop. Now multiply this process across wheat, corn, soybeans, rice, canola, cotton. Across continents, across climates, every season. At the same time, another quiet revolution takes place inside the seeds themselves. Modern agricultural seeds are no longer simple biological material. They are products of decades of research. Hybrid genetics, disease resistance, drought tolerance, optimized root systems. Some are coated with micronutrients, others with protective polymers that dissolve slowly in the soil. Each seed is engineered for survival in hostile environments. Heat, salinity, low water availability. Where traditional crops would fail, these varieties continue. Feeding regions once considered agriculturally impossible. Deserts transformed into grain fields. Semi-arid plains converted into industrial farms. But even perfect planting is useless without water. Which brings us to one of the most iconic structures of modern farming: the center pivot irrigation system. From the sky, these fields appear as perfect green circles carved into brown landscapes. Geometric signatures visible from orbit. At the center stands a well. From it extends a long metal pipeline, sometimes over half a kilometer in length. Mounted on wheeled towers, the structure rotates slowly, completing a full circle over days. Sprinklers spray water evenly across the crops below. Every meter receives a controlled dosage, not random rainfall, programmed hydration. A single pivot system can irrigate over 100 hectares, enough to supply food for tens of thousands of people. In regions like Nebraska, Kansas, Arizona, and Saudi Arabia, this technology changed everything. Land once considered barren now produces corn, wheat, soybeans, and vegetables at industrial scale. Modern pivots integrate moisture sensors buried in the soil, weather forecasts, evaporation models. Farmers monitor everything remotely, on smartphones, from offices, from hundreds of kilometers away. If moisture drops below a threshold, irrigation activates automatically. If rain is predicted, it pauses. Water becomes a managed resource. Measured, allocated, priced. In some regions, water rights are traded like commodities. Technology does not only grow crops, it reshapes economies. Entire rural areas now depend on networks of pumps, pipelines, and data streams. Where farmers once looked at the sky, they now look at dashboards. But agriculture does not end with planting and watering. Growth must be controlled, fields must be shaped, trees must be disciplined. This is where another category of machines enters the system: pruning equipment. In industrial orchards, tree trimmers replace teams of workers with ladders and hand tools. A single machine moves through rows, extending hydraulic arms equipped with high-speed circular blades. Branches are cut in seconds, angles adjusted electronically, canopies reshaped to maximize sunlight exposure. Uniformity increases yield. Uniformity simplifies harvesting. Uniformity simplifies profit prediction. In pine plantations, machines perform an even more surreal operation. Circular trimming heads surround each tree as they move forward, sculpting thousands of trees into perfect cones. Not for beauty, but for efficiency, for lumber quality, for seasonal markets like Christmas tree production. This level of control was unimaginable a century ago. Today it is routine, and yet, all of this machinery, all of this data, all of this precision, exists for one purpose: to prepare the stage, because the true spectacle begins when the harvest returns. When millions of plants, grown by algorithms in steel, are collected in a matter of days. In the next chapter, we follow the machines that transform entire landscapes into moving rivers of food. If seeds define potential, water defines survival. Without it, precision planting becomes meaningless. In modern agriculture, water is no longer a gift from the sky. It is an engineered resource. Across thousands of farms, irrigation systems operate as artificial weather. Pumps draw water from underground aquifers, rivers, and reservoirs. Pipelines distributed across entire regions. Valves open and close automatically. Sprinklers activate based on algorithms. Fields receive exactly what they need. No more, no less. In large commercial farms, irrigation is managed from control rooms that resemble small data centers. Multiple screens display soil humidity maps, wind speed, evaporation rates, water pressure, flow efficiency. A single technician can manage hundreds of hectares with a keyboard and a touchscreen. If a pipe leaks, sensors detect pressure drops instantly. If a pump overheats, the system shuts down before damage occurs. If soil moisture reaches saturation, irrigation pauses automatically. This is not farming in the traditional sense. It is resource management at continental scale. Nowhere is this more visible than in arid regions, places where rain is rare and unpredictable. California's Central Valley, the deserts of Israel, the plains of Saudi Arabia. Here, agriculture survives not through climate, but through infrastructure. Massive pumping stations lift water from deep underground. Some wells reach depths of more than 500 meters. Water that has traveled through rock layers for centuries is brought to the surface and sprayed across young crops. The cost is immense: electricity, maintenance, equipment, but the reward is food production where none should exist. Entire cities depend on these artificial ecosystems. Yet water is limited. Aquifers do not refill instantly. Rivers change with climate patterns. Droughts last longer. And so efficiency becomes the new battlefield. Modern irrigation systems are designed to lose almost nothing. Drip irrigation delivers water directly to the roots, one drop at a time. Subsurface pipes release moisture underground, eliminating evaporation. Smart valves adjust pressure to compensate for terrain elevation. Even the angle of sprinkler heads is optimized to minimize wind drift. In some fields, water use has been reduced by more than 40% while maintaining the same yield. Technology does not create water, but it stretches its value. And in a world of 8 billion people, that difference is survival. At the heart of this transformation is automation. Farms now operate on schedules defined by software. Planting dates calculated by climate models. Irrigation cycles synchronized with growth stages. Fertilizer application adjusted based on satellite imagery. Yes, satellites. Orbiting hundreds of kilometers above Earth, they monitor crop color. Infrared cameras detect stress invisible to human eyes. Yellowing leaves, uneven growth, early signs of disease, all transmitted to farm management systems. A farmer may never walk through certain fields, yet know their condition in real time. From a screen, from data, from patterns, autonomous tractors already operate in many regions. Driverless, guided by GPS and lidar sensors. They plow, they seed, they spray, they stop if an obstacle appears. They resume when the path is clear. Human operators supervise fleets like air traffic controllers. 1 person, 10 machines, 20, sometimes more. Work continues day and night. Darkness no longer interrupts agriculture. Fatigue no longer limits production. The field becomes a 24-hour factory. But automation also changes risk. A single software error can affect thousands of hectares. A corrupted data file can miscalculate fertilizer dosage. A sensor malfunction can overwater entire sections. In traditional farming, mistakes were local. Now they scale. This has forced farms to adopt cybersecurity practices. Encrypted networks, redundant servers, backup systems. Agriculture now shares concerns with banking, aviation, and energy infrastructure. Food is critical infrastructure, and its production is treated as such. At the same time, new machines continue to redefine physical labor. Consider the modern fertilizer spreader. Equipped with rotating discs controlled electronically, they adjust dispersion patterns based on wind speed and terrain. Variable rate technology allows different doses to be applied within the same field. High nutrient zones receive less. Poor soil receives more. Every kilogram optimized, every dollar accounted for. Then there are crop protection systems. Sprayers fitted with cameras that identify weeds individually. Instead of spraying entire fields, the machine targets only unwanted plants. Herbicide use drops dramatically. Environmental impact decreases. Costs fall. Productivity rises. Once again, sensors replace judgment. Software replaces instinct. And as crops grow under this invisible supervision, the landscape itself changes. Fields become uniform. Colors become consistent. Growth curves become predictable. Agriculture loses chaos, gains structure. It begins to resemble manufacturing. Inputs go in, outputs come out, quality controlled, standardized, repeatable. And yet, for all this precision, the final stage remains brutal. When maturity arrives, everything must happen quickly. Weather windows are short. Delays cause losses measured in millions. Machines must mobilize. Fleets assemble. Harvest schedules are calculated to the hour. In the next chapter, we return to the machines that end the cycle. The harvesters, the shakers, the cutters, the giants that turn months of invisible data into mountains of visible food. Modern agriculture is not limited to crops. It also reshapes forests, orchards, plantations, entire landscapes. Trees, once left to grow freely, are now engineered structures. Their height, their width, their density, their angle toward the sun, all controlled. In industrial orchards, pruning is no longer seasonal manual labor. It is continuous mechanical design. Tree trimmer machines move slowly between rows, extending long hydraulic arms fitted with high-speed rotating blades. Operators adjust angles from inside sealed cabins. Branches fall in perfect arcs. Canopies are sculpted into uniform corridors of green. Light penetration increases. Airflow improves. Disease spreads more slowly. Harvesting becomes predictable. A single pruning machine can service dozens of hectares in one day, replacing entire teams of workers with ladders and hand tools. The goal is not beauty. It is efficiency. Trees become components. Standardized biological units optimized for yield. In apple, orange, and peach orchards, this method increases fruit size consistency, improves sugar distribution, reduces fungal infection, and shortens harvesting time by weeks. Further north, in industrial pine plantations, machines perform an even more surreal task. Circular trimming heads surround young trees as they advance. The spinning blades shave branches into perfect cones. Thousands of identical shapes rise from the soil. Living geometry. These trees will become lumber, paper, furniture, construction materials. Their form determines their market value decades later. Shaped today for profit tomorrow. Beyond orchards and forests, agriculture also reshapes the soil itself. Not just preparing it for seeds, but redesigning its structure. Heavy graders and land levelers flatten uneven terrain. They remove subtle hills, fill depressions, redirect natural drainage paths. Entire fields are reprogrammed for water flow. This is critical for crops like rice. where even small variations in elevation cause flooding or drought. Laser-guided leveling machines move soil with millimeter precision. Operators follow digital maps. Sensors guide blade height automatically. What once required months of manual labor now takes days. From above, fields become perfect plains. Mathematical surfaces carved into nature. This control of terrain improves irrigation efficiency, reduces erosion, and ensures uniform crop development. Once again, geometry replaces randomness. But the most dramatic transformation occurs in regions dominated by heavy mechanized harvesting. Sugarcane fields in Brazil, cotton fields in Texas, wheat plains in Australia. Here, machines do not simply harvest. They redesign the entire ecosystem. Sugarcane harvesters cut stalks at the base, strip leaves, chop the cane into segments, load it directly into moving trucks, all in one motion. Fire, once used to clear fields, is no longer necessary. Mechanical efficiency replaces burning, reducing pollution, increasing safety. Cotton harvesters perform another strange ritual. They move slowly, pulling plants into rotating spindles. Fibers cling to the metal fingers. Seeds fall away. White clouds disappear into storage chambers. The field is left brown and silent, transformed in hours. Wheat and barley harvesters move like steel oceans across continents, each machine cutting a path dozens of meters wide. Grain flows through internal systems, separated, cleaned, stored, transferred to trailers in motion. Entire landscapes are consumed and reborn in days. But forests and crops are only part of the story. There are also permanent structures, drainage channels, retention basins, windbreaks, road networks. Farms now resemble small nations, with infrastructure rivaling that of cities. Gravel highways connect fields to silos. Fuel depots service fleets of machines. Maintenance hangars repair equipment worth millions. Some farms operate with their own power stations, solar fields, diesel generators, battery systems. Energy becomes as critical as water. Without electricity, the system collapses. No pumps, no sensors, no data, no harvest. Modern agriculture is not rural simplicity. It is logistics, engineering, energy management, data science, and long-term planning. Decisions made today shape production 5, 10, 20 years into the future. Tree varieties, soil treatments, irrigation networks, land shaping, everything is an investment with delayed returns. And yet, despite all this preparation, the most delicate operations still lie ahead. Some crops cannot be treated like wheat or sugarcane. They demand precision even at the moment of harvest. They require machines capable of replacing human hands. In the next chapter, we explore these specialized harvests. Peanuts pulled from underground, sweet corn racing against time, pistachios shaken from century-old trees, and systems designed to protect every fragile gram. Not all crops surrender easily. Some hide underground, some spoil within hours, some bruise at the slightest impact. For these, brute force is not enough. They require choreography, timing, precision. One of the most complex examples is peanut harvesting. Unlike grains or fruits, peanuts grow below the surface, attached to fragile roots, invisible until the final moment. The harvest begins with the digger shaker, a machine fitted with underground blades that slide beneath the soil. They cut the roots, lift the entire plant, and flip it upside down. Pods exposed to the air, leaves facing the ground. For days, the peanuts remain in this position, drying naturally under the sun. Moisture levels slowly drop, flavor develops. Only then does the second machine arrive, the combine harvester. Its rotating teeth lift the dried plants. Conveyors separate pods from vines. Air systems remove soil and debris. Clean peanuts flow into storage bins. Vines are shredded and returned to the field as organic fertilizer. Nothing wasted. A single modern peanut harvester can process 5 to 6 tons per hour. A task that once required entire villages, now performed by one operator inside a sealed cabin. But speed is not always an advantage. Sweet corn follows a different rule. It lives on a biological countdown. Once it reaches maturity, sugar begins converting into starch. Flavor declines rapidly. After 12 hours, sweetness is already fading. After 24, it is gone. Harvesting must be immediate, coordinated, relentless. In vast fields across the United States, specialized harvesters roll in like moving factories. Hydraulic arms grip each stalk. Blades cut cleanly at the base. Rotating rollers strip away leaves. Golden ears drop onto conveyors. Sorted, aligned, stacked, all in seconds. Behind the machines, refrigerated trailers wait. Corn moves directly from soil to cold storage, then to processing plants, canning lines, freezing tunnels, distribution centers. Within hours, it appears on shelves thousands of kilometers away. This is agriculture synchronized with logistics. Delay is loss, precision is survival. Further west, pistachio orchards operate on a different rhythm. These trees can live over 100 years, but take nearly a decade before producing meaningful harvests. Once ready, they yield massive volumes in a short window. Harvesting is violent but controlled. Hydraulic shakers clamp onto each trunk. Rubber-lined arms prevent damage. Then the machine vibrates the tree with calibrated force. Thousands of nuts fall at once. Below, giant catch frames unfold like metallic umbrellas. They capture every falling pistachio, preventing contact with soil, reducing contamination. Conveyors carry the nuts upward. Fans remove dust and leaves. Bins fill in minutes. In California alone, pistachios generate billions of dollars annually. Nearly every nut consumed in the United States originates from these mechanized orchards. A luxury product born from industrial precision. Sunflowers offer one of the most visually striking harvests. During summer, fields glow yellow. Millions of faces turning toward the sun. But at maturity, color fades. Petals fall. Heads droop. The field turns gray and silent. Waiting. Harvesters equipped with sharp guiding prongs move through the rows. Tall stalks bend. Seed heads are pulled into rotating drums. Inside, seeds are separated violently. Husks fly out. Black seeds pour onto conveyors like liquid metal. Moments later, bins are full. The field is empty. These seeds will become cooking oil. Snacks, animal feed, biofuel. One flower, 1,000 seeds, millions of flowers, entire industries. Each of these crops demands its own machine, its own timing, its own engineering philosophy. Agriculture is not one system. It is hundreds of specialized systems operating in parallel, designed around biology, optimized by technology, controlled by data. And yet, even this is changing. A new generation of machines is emerging. Ones that do not simply follow instructions, but make decisions. Machines that see, that learn, that adapt. In the final chapter, we enter the age where agriculture is no longer just mechanized. It becomes intelligent. For thousands of years, agriculture depended on human judgment. A farmer walked the field, touched the soil, observed the leaves, listened to the wind. Decisions were slow, local, imperfect. Today, that era is ending quietly. Not with a revolution, but with software updates. Across experimental farms and commercial operations, robots now move between crops. Low to the ground, silent, equipped with cameras, sensors, and artificial intelligence. They scan leaves for microscopic color changes invisible to the human eye. Detect early disease, measure growth speed, identify nutrient deficiencies. Some operate day and night, navigating rows using computer vision. They do not tire, they do not forget, they do not guess. In strawberry fields, robotic arms gently pick ripe fruit, each movement calculated to avoid bruising. In lettuce farms, automated cutters select only mature heads, leaving the rest to grow. In vineyards, machines analyze grape clusters one by one, predicting sugar content weeks before harvest. This is not automation of labor. It is automation of perception. The machine sees more, remembers more, calculates faster. Above the fields, drones fly in silent grids, mapping crops with multispectral cameras, building digital twins of entire farms. Every square meter recorded, every plant indexed, growth curves plotted, stress zones highlighted. A farmer no longer asks, "How is my field doing?" He opens a dashboard, and the system answers. Some farms already operate with minimal human presence. One technician supervises hundreds of hectares. AI schedules irrigation. AI triggers fertilizer application. AI dispatches autonomous tractors. AI predicts yield months in advance. Banks use these predictions to approve loans. Governments use them to estimate food supply. Commodity markets react to these numbers. A cornfield becomes data. A potato harvest becomes a financial forecast. Food becomes an algorithmic output. But intelligence does not remove risk. Climate change introduces new variables. Heat waves, irregular rainfall, unexpected pests. So systems learn, models retrain, data accumulates. Each season feeds the next. Mistakes become lessons stored in servers. Agriculture becomes a self-improving machine. And yet, at the center of it all, the objective remains ancient. To feed, to survive, to sustain civilization. Cities grow, populations rise, supply chains stretch across oceans. One delayed harvest affects prices on another continent. One drought shifts global markets. One disease changes political decisions. Modern agriculture is no longer rural. It is planetary infrastructure, a network of steel, code, water, energy, and biology, operating silently beneath everyday life. When supermarkets are full, no one notices. When shelves empty, the world panics. Behind every loaf of bread, every bottle of oil, every handful of rice, there is a system few people ever see. Fields guided by satellites, machines guided by algorithms, seeds designed in laboratories, water measured in microseconds, so the next time you see a quiet landscape, a tractor moving slowly under the sun, rows of crops stretching into the distance, remember, you are not looking at nature. You are looking at one of the largest machines ever built by humanity. A machine designed not to build cities, not to explore space, not to dominate markets, but to perform the most essential task of all, keeping 8 billion people alive, every day.